What's good, y'all? Blacksmith here, and today we're here to talk about Fantastic Four First Steps. While this is the fourth live-action Fantastic Four film since their debut in 2005, this is the first Marvel Cinematic Universe version of Fantastic Four. And seeing as there's been 4 movies and 2 renditions of the Fantastic Four since 2005, I know we've all been waiting for the Marvel version to come out. And now that it's finally here, I guess the only questions that we want answered are, was it worth the wait? Did Marvel give the Fantastic Four the justice that they deserve? Let's talk about it. As far as the plot goes, they skipped the whole origin story, so for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Fantastic Four, I would suggest going to see this movie. And the biggest plot points in the movie are the Silver Surfer and Galactus. And the last time I saw either of those characters in a live-action movie was back in 2007 in Rise of the Silver Surfer, and they made a horrible rendition of both of them. Yeah, that was back when Galactus was just a cloud, and the Silver Surfer was, actually wasn't that bad, but they made Galactus a cloud. But now we get to see all of these characters back on screen and possibly in a better light. So, let's get into these pros and cons. The first pro I want to talk about, the story. As I said before, they pretty much skipped the whole origin story of the Fantastic Four and jumped right into them being integrated into society. And they are widely known and celebrated throughout their city and possibly the world, but definitely in their hometown. And it's actually really cool to see that they don't have to hide and everybody respects them. And this story of the Fantastic Four is a lot different than the previous versions because this one has a very strong focus on family. And sometimes it's in a Dominic Toretto type of way from Fast and Furious, but it's still actually really cool because they really are Marvel's first family. And it was really cool how they were able to introduce the characters of the Silver Surfer and Galactus and make both of them make sense in this setting. This entire film had a storyline that played out like it was a comic book, and it was actually really entertaining. They made it look really good. The second pro I want to talk about, the special effects. When it comes to the CGI and special effects for this movie, you could tell that Marvel pulled no punches and gave it all for this movie. Everything from the Thing's rock texture to Mr. Fantastic stretchabilities to Invisible Woman's force field and Johnny Storm's fire looked great. It looked clean and crisp and clear. Even their environments looked completely real. Nothing looked cheesy. They threw everything they could at this movie to make it look great, and it worked out in their favor. The next pro I want to talk about, the acting. And just to sum that up real quick, everybody did a great job. As skeptical as I was to hear about Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards, he did a good job for this rendition of the character. At a certain point, I was actually imagining this version of Reed Richards talking to Tony Stark and just how amusing that conversation would be. Yeah, those two egos in one room would be very entertaining to see. Alright, let's talk about some cons. I think the only con that I have for this movie was that even though the story did play out like it was a Fantastic Four comic book story, I think that's kind of where it hurt it a little bit. Now, admittedly, I had not read a bunch of Fantastic Four comics, but from what I have read of theirs, their stories didn't seem to be as exciting as, say, a Spider-Man or Iron Man comic book story. So throughout the film, they did make some Easter eggs and references to other Fantastic Four characters and villains, but that seemingly is all they had going for them most of the time because a lot of their characters and even the villains were not as exciting as villains and characters in other famous Marvel superhero comics. And that's pretty much the only con that I have. Not to say this movie is perfect, but it is pretty good. So overall, I really did enjoy this movie. It's probably the best MCU movie to have come out in a while, and I believe everyone's going to enjoy this. And especially because we know where this movie is leading us to, Doomsday. So until we get there, we have this movie of the Fantastic Four, and we'll see them at Doomsday. Thanks for checking out my review. Let me know if you plan on seeing this movie. Let me know if you've already seen it and what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about my review, and give this video a like and your boy a follow. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, peace.